Welcome everybody to DreamHack Open 2014. This is of course the Stockholm stop, the 5th stop of the DreamHack Tour in 2014. Another $25,000 tournament is upon us. Another and final last WCS tournament. I am Sean Apollo Clark, your panel host surprisingly for this next few days. And I'm joined by, to my far left, is our mini-me from the last event, is Moonglades. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, it's great to be back here. Thank you for having me once again. I'm very, very excited for this tournament.
How'd you like Moscow?
I love Moscow, actually. It was, it was kind of similar to this place here, actually. It's kind of strange.
Of course, next to Moonglade, a guy who really doesn't need an introduction. If you didn't know already, it's EG in control. Hello, friend. Welcome back.
Always good to be here. Really excited. DreamHack is an absolutely amazing event, and this one, of course, is exceptional among great events. This is a really important one, of course, everything leading to DreamHack, or excuse me, BlizzCon. And all the Koreans here, actually, Smix tweeted a picture earlier, it was really funny. They all kind of bunched up and grouped together, but when there's like 30 of them, it's kind of an impressive picture. It's like, damn, that's a lot of good StarCraft in that corner over there. So it's going to be great.
It's going to be a great event. And then my mini-me this event. Of course, Moonglade was Richard Lewis's mini-me previously. Hello, Nathanias. Welcome again.
Can you guys talk about that? It's purple. Like, that's not a... that shouldn't be a color repeating in your closet too many times. But the two of you are like, today's the day.
It's my purple shirt, man. You know, I was just doing like a different event. I was like, okay, well, this is the only shirt that I had that wasn't wrinkly.
Are you saying he copied you?
Yeah, of course.
What? I'm the host. You do what I say. You copy me.
Wow.
Well met, Apollo. Well met.
Nathanias joins us again. How many DreamHacks have you done now?
This would be number 3. I can
Number
count.
3?
4. No? 2 last year. This is, yeah, fourth overall. I can count.
Jeff's done probably double digits by now. Moonglade's your second.
I am second to you, I think.
Yeah?
Who would do more than me?
Smix.
No.
Maybe.
Of course, Smix is somewhere on there. I don't know.
I started before Smix. She's been doing like all of them since mid last year. But
we'll have to tally that up. Try to
I think I'm second place. I think I'm second place, which I'm
okay
with.
All right, well, those are our experts. Hopefully, this weekend, one representation for each race. Please, Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. And also, a massive shout-out to our sponsors, of course, ISO, HyperX, Razer, and Monster Energy. I did that without even looking, because I've been to so many DreamHacks before. If you are not so familiar with DreamHack Open, let's take a closer look at a video explaining what we've done so far this year. Sixteen players have now qualified for DreamHack Winter. We are in search of 4 more players at the end of this weekend. Today and tomorrow, of course, but also this is the last World Championship Series global tournament before BlizzCon in just about a month's time. A lot on the line for this event. We have a lot of awesome games. We have a lot of awesome players. We've got 4 Kesper players here. We've got multiple champions, whether they be DreamHack champions or just International Premier League champions. What an event we have upon us.
The numbers have been crunched. It's really, really interesting. A lot of these people are vying for, realistically, the bottom 3 places in BlizzCon. MMA, Jaedong, Snoot, and MMA is even a little bit unobtainable. So really, it's Jaedong and Snoot kind of on the chopping block. And with Innovation, I'm about to do a GSL spoiler, so cover your ears if you're one of those people. Innovation did win his match against Cure, which means he's in striking distance if he wins that GSL. So we'll, of course, update you guys with those numbers as the tournament goes on. But what that means for this tournament is there's a hell of a lot on the line. If you don't win a single game at BlizzCon, you still pocket something like $6,000 to $8,000. Of course, an excellent trip to Anaheim and just the prestige of being one of the final top 16 players, arguably on the planet. WCS, that's what they're trying to do. Is they're saying, hey, if you're in that top 16, you're probably one of the absolute best. So this is the final battleground. We've got players coming in. We've got 4 from Kespa.
Yeah.
Someone's looking to either be Snoot or be alongside Snoot as the only foreigner, both at DreamHack winner perhaps, and BlizzCon as well. So there's so much on the line.
Yeah, the player list is incredible. We've got 8 DreamHack champions at this event. We have 17 champions from other tournaments here.
17?
17. They've got 6 GSL champions here. So we have a lot of awesome players. Who stands out? What stands out for you, Munglit?
Well, as a Zerg player, a Zerg fan, Su stands out the most for me. He's been doing so well. He's gotten to another GSL final recently, beating Zesty, arguably the best player in the world right now. So he's coming into this pretty hot. He's looking really, really good. But it is a different kind of tournament, so it's going to be interesting to see how a Korean who's been in the Korean scene for so long adapts to this kind of tournament where you have to play multiple opponents per day. You don't have that same preparation time. That's the biggest one for me, but obviously we have CJ Hero here as well. And obviously everyone wants to see Snoot do well just so he can get to BlizzCon. But besides that, there's just so many good players here, so many fan favorites, so many players we want to see do well. So it's everything is so great about this tournament.
I think probably the biggest thing is looking to see how the players that typically don't go into these weekend tournaments, like Sue they don't play outside, and usually in the pro league scene and GSL, you have a lot of time to study the opponents that you're going to be up against. But in the open format that we use for DreamHack, you don't have that preparation. You could go up against absolutely anybody in this tournament at any point. So it really comes down to the endurance of these players to play the prolonged days of StarCraft.
There's really 2 ways to look at it, though. I mean, you can look at Classic and Sue, and they haven't really been to big tournaments and done well at them. But the other 2 players that we have from Kesper representing, we have Solar, who has done well abroad. He got the 2nd place at the Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen. And then Hero has won multiple Intel Extreme Masters. So, I mean, which way does this really look at for you?
I think that storyline is pretty interesting because certainly there is just... It's a world apart difference when you can prepare an entire week for a single best of 5, best of 3, or best of 7. It has its own pros and cons. It's very different. This tournament, you don't know. Between the group plays, like, well, I placed first there, they placed second, but then it gets kind of randomized where they go into which groups. So they can't really do that math. They just have to prepare for anybody. So that's interesting. I like writing on the coattails of your comment too. I find the mix-up of players really interesting. Like we talk a lot about Sue, arguably. Probably the best Zerg, at least statistically right now, heading into the 4th GSL finals. That's incredible. But he's going to be facing off against Golden in his groups, which I really like as well, because Golden is one of those kind of expatriates that came out of Korea, originally went to NA, didn't have super amazing success. It actually kind of fell off. I believe there was even a retirement there, came out of that short interim retirement, and is kicking ass in Europe right now. I watched his games in this last WCS broadcast that you guys did. Wonderful job, you and Claris. And he looked really impressed. A lot of Swarm host play, which actually, not only is it controversial, which is kind of funny, but for me, Swarm host play is like really, it ebbs and flows. We either see like a ton of it because everyone's like, Swarm hosts are amazing, or they kind of disappeared for a while. I mean, not truly disappeared, but certainly were used at a limited basis. And now we're seeing a lot more of them. So we see it in ZVZ as well, Stefano. RIP. But it'll be interesting to see how that reflects. But like I said, Golden versus Sue. Kespa versus expatriate, kind of a broad Korean. I like that storyline as well.
Good Europeans, good Pro League players, and then you've got the classics like Polt, MC, the international tournament winners. So a good mix of players here. But let's take a closer look at the schedule to see what we're going to be giving you and covering for you today. We have, of course, the pre-show, which we're in right now. Our first game of the day is going to be Jaedong versus Pig. We'll be covering Group Stage 2 and 3, 3 games from each round. Our first one there will be starting very, very shortly. And then from there, we'll just kind of see where it goes, who plays who, what kind of game stands out for us, and then we'll be covering it. But we start this broadcast here with 64 players. By the end of today, we'll only have 16. So we're cutting it pretty fast here. So we'll have some big names eliminated very early in this tournament because of the list of players that we have.
Yeah, even to give a nod to Group Stage 1, it's kind of it's like a DreamHack tradition that there's actually, the tournament's already started, we just don't really talk about it. Not a whole lot of upsets there. It is too bad that Target couldn't make it. I understand he succumbed to a cold, just too bad. And then some of the cool bright spots that I do believe Matalus made out of her group, which is always really exciting for me. Well, for everyone, actually. It's just fun to see her compete. It's really awesome that she does that. And then otherwise, not a whole lot in the way of upsets. So those guys have been injected into these groups. The groups are finished out, all according to plan, I think. And, I mean, did we get a chance to look at the groups? Has there been any ones that are kind of, I'm trying to think.
I mean, they're all pretty...
They seem okay,
They're okay. There's nothing that stands out, which is like, wow. For that group, like, oh my god, this is happening already.
No all-team liquid group or anything like that?
Well, apart from the Snoot and Bunny, that's it really. But the groups are pretty well balanced overall. There's a lot of good players in there. There's usually in each group right now 3 good players and then 1 not quite on their level. But upsets can happen. We've seen it happen multiple times at DreamHack, WCS, multiple different events.
This is where it does happen, if anything. There's always someone that makes a name for themselves at DreamHack. And kind of going back to, in the intros, we talked a little bit about this too, but right now we have 1 foreigner, and that's Snoot, Liquid Snoot, slotted to go to DreamHack winner. Yep. And he's also the only guy, the only foreigner, well, not the only foreigner, there's guys with like 1% chances, but he's the guy with the best chance to be the only foreigner at BlizzCon as well. So this is a really important tournament for him. I believe we did the math. It's something like he needs round of 8 to have a really good chance. Round of 16 makes it scary.
Yeah, round of 8 is going to be required there. But let's talk a little bit about Group A then. We're going to be jumping into Group A for our first game here, Jaedong versus Pig. The other 2 players in that group is Mana, of course, from Team Liquid, and a French player who advanced from Group Stage 1 called, I don't know if I'm going to say this properly.
Do it.
Pit Drago.
So he advanced actually in first place from his group and landed in this. But what do you think about this group overall? Is this a group where we definitely should be seeing Jaedong move through in first place? Is Mana and Pig going to challenge this?
I definitely think they can. I definitely think we haven't seen the best of Jaedong lately. And Pig is very, very capable of beating both those players, coming out on top. Pig is also one of those players that can have very hit or miss performances. We haven't seen him do too well in these tournaments. We have seen him go pretty far in a DreamHack before. But yeah, it's very hit and miss as well. It's very, very hard to say between these 3 players. I think all 3 of them can get through. So it's going to come down to those 3 more than anything else.
Isn't this game like a must-win? It's a must-win for Jaedong every single game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we talked about crunching the numbers. If he doesn't make round of 8, he's probably not going to go to BlizzCon, which would be... I feel like that would be kind of the stamp on this was a down year for Jaedong. It's already a storyline that people are talking about. He doesn't have this super, super big win. He had that smaller tournament that he won, and then earlier in the year, of course, he did as well. But right now, we haven't seen a whole lot of the Jaedong. And like last year, it was like, gosh, top 2. What a jerk, that monkey on his back. But it was still top 2 at every freaking tournament. And at the end of the day, that's a really good... that's still pretty great success. This year, not so much. He's having a tough time. So if he gets eliminated earlier, which, by the way, looking at this group, he's got to be the favorite. I don't think that this is really this is like a caster storyline that we're doing right now. Like, what if he lost? That'd be really terrible. But it's really low chance.
I think it's possible.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
Would you bet money on it?
No,
absolutely not.
But that's. I still think there's a chance that he could not get out of this.
Would you bet?
I mean, this is like you go into a group as Jaedong. Regardless of whether people think you're on top of your game or not, this is the group that you have to win because you don't have any other Korean opponents to go up against. And if you get out of this group, your opponents aren't going to get any easier. So if you can't make it through the top non-Korean talent, there's simply no way you're going to stand up to the Kespa players later on.
Pig's very good, but that's in Jaedong's wheelhouse. That's ZVZ. Mana's very good, but Mana's mere immortal. If Jaedong is to trip up in this group, I think that's really bad signs for his progress potential and later in the tournament.
Well, you've known Jaedong for a long time, obviously in Brood War, same team now. Is this a type of scenario where he's going to feel more pressured? Is he going to excel under this pressure? Because he knows he needs a top 8.
Yeah, to use the phrase I used earlier, monkey on the back, this is something that Jaedong's been struggling with in StarCraft 2, where it's like he came into the game kind of with that swagger of, well, it's me and Flash, we're the best absolutely ever. And then he kind of realized, wait a second, this is a very different game. Holy crap, there's people that are ahead of me right now. And he struggled at the beginning. Then last year, he kind of found his stride. And this year, it looks like he's, once again, kind of tripped up. And a lot of people in the comment boards kind of talk about, Kespa training versus foreign training, that kind of thing. That's not a super huge factor for him because he does just live in Korea. And this year, he's traveled less than he did last year. And his success has actually been a little bit less. So it's more kind of a like, what does Jaedong want to do? Does he want to put in the 16, 18-hour days and be the absolute best? Right now, he's kind of seeing countries he travels to. He's living with his brother. He's having a good time. And StarCraft 2 is still really important to him. He has a passion to win. We've seen that. He lost, I can't remember what tournament it was. I think it was in WCS. He got knocked out. And he immediately tweeted, he's like, guys, I'm the best. I'll be back. Don't worry. So that's kind of the X factor, I always say. I don't train with Jaedong, so I don't really know. But I remember this time last year, heading into BlizzCon, people were like, count Jaedong out. He can't do it. Second place at BlizzCon, the biggest tournament of the year. So hopefully he has taken that time to get that swagger back and to make a surge here at the end because it's not a sure thing.
All right. Are we ready for the game yet?
Game is ready. We haven't started yet, though.
Okay. So they're just loading in?
Oh, sitting in the lobby at the moment.
They just said that you're They're just saying your hosting is so excellent that they want you to just keep going.
Just keep
they
going.
just-
Yeah, don't stop, Sean.
Let's take a closer look at both of these players. We do have some stats for you to look at here. Let's take a look. There is Jaedong and there is Pig. Looks great. They've never played against each other before.
Australia.
He's burrowed. Just
But
give
I
him-
think something we can point out there, look at the recent games versus Zerg there for Jaedong. 15 or 16 wins, I think that is, to 13 losses.
Very surprising.
Recent games. And you know
Yeah.
it's all about JVZ, but recent games is...
Those are not as typical numbers. It's usually like 80
Well,
to 90%.
That kind of tells us about his recent form and how
Yeah.
he's been doing in WCS lately and tournaments just like that. So, yeah, not too surprising that it is kind of like that, which is going to bode very well for Pig because I do believe that is his best matchup.
Okay, well, it seems like the game is ready for both you guys. If
Nope,
I'm
still not there yet.
Oh,
Sean.
not there?
Yeah,
Okay,
not
I can't
yet.
see anything, so I guess we've got to wait a couple
We just
more
got to keep
minutes.
doing this thing.
Yeah.
So what does Pig need to do, Moonblade, to win this?
Well, Pig is
Tell
actually a very crafty ZVZ player. He's got a lot of all sorts of all-ins and plays the mind games very, very well, which is going to be interesting when we get into it. Game is loading now, thank goodness.
Now it is
Thank
Sean.
you, Moonblade. Thank you.
Now it's ready.
Thank you.
It's happening.
I need to...
It's
we need like a mirror or something on your chest, or if you
We need,
wear
like, hand
glasses, so I could
signals.
see.
Hand
It's
signals.
just like
Morse,
signals.
Morse code.
What we'll all do is just uncomfortably get quiet. You'll ask questions, and we'll be just like, oh, God. He doesn't know. Well, it's kind of like, oh, God.
The game's loading. I'm like, sorry.
Game has loaded.
DreamHack Stockholm has began, as
All
far
right.
as we're concerned.
Take it away, Moonblade, and in control. Give us the best you can possibly give us.
All right, thank you, Apollo. Guys, we are getting into the game. Of course, give a big shout to Apollo as well. As I understand it, he has been asking Red Eye for notes in the last week. Red Eye kind of took him under his fatherly wing, his veiny, bat-like wing, and just kind of placed him under it. And the two of them have just been working on hosting, and it's really shown.
Yeah, it has.
It has.
He's been doing a great job so far. I'm very, very impressed here. I'm not too surprised either. He's very capable.
No.
Very, very experienced.
Something in the water in Britain makes good hosts,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely
Really
right.
good hosts. Let's go ahead and introduce these players to kick off DreamHack Stockholm Open. I believe that's how you say it. Is it DreamHack Open Stockholm or DreamHack Stockholm
I think it's
Open?
DreamHack Open Stockholm. Yeah, that sounds about right to me.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Let's do it.
Hashtag DH Open.
Yes, guys, yes. By the way, worth noting, if you want to help us out in the social media, do hashtag DH Open. Road to BlizzCon is another one that they're pumping out right now. And then there's this like DH STL 555421. That one? Did you see that one I'm talking about?
I saw that one, man. That's
Yeah.
a little ruthless here.
I don't know. Okay, go ahead. Start us off. Who we got here?
All right. Well, starting in the top right, as you can see on the screen there, we have Exile 5's Pig from Australia.
And he is actually Australian, not the other country, right?
That's correct.
You wouldn't make that mistake.
I would never make that mistake, mate.
Us frickin' Yankees, though.
Ugh.
Everybody else. All right. And his opponents in the lower left-hand corner, wearing the red trunks, as Total Biscuit would say, it is Evil Genius's Jaedong. And by the way, big shout out to our observer. That is not Funka. That is not Adabisi. That is the intern, as I understand his name to be.
His
intern.
name is Alex, and he is the intent. He does some great work. He actually did observing for Moscow.
Yeah.
And he did very, very well. So it's great to have him back.
Yeah, that's how you know you do a good job, is when they ask you to come back. It's when
That's exactly it, man.
It's when you privately just kind of disappear into the night that you realize, well, you know what, maybe I did do a great job.
Yeah, maybe I should go back
Nobody
to the drawing
is
board
calling me.
there. Yeah, it's always a big tell there. And looking at these builds straight off the bat, we see all Pig go for that 15 hatch first into the later pool, and gas pretty early on. So we could definitely see some aggression early, and at the very least, some map control from Pig. Kind of taking control of that means he can go for that faster third base, deny Jaedong's third base, deny Jaedong's scouting with all these sort of Zerglings and whatnot. And it's going to be up to Jaedong to see how he's going to react to this. Is he going to go for a Roach build? Is he going to get a decently timed Zergling speed? We'll have to wait and see. We do see one gas go down now for Jaedong.
Does overgrowth factor at all into a ZVZ mindset? Do you look at this map and say, well, here's the builds that are not good and here's the ones that are? Or is it kind of generic, everything's pretty okay here?
It's pretty okay on this map. It's nothing too... It's a very standard map for just about every matchup.
Okay.
When it gets to the big Roach versus Roaches, concaves obviously mean everything, and especially on this map defensively, there are some great ramps that you can try to position on top of and always have a pretty much winning position.
What about the gold base? I know that's like when I've seen a lot of players take their third as the standard, middle base.
Yep.
Then there's other ones that'll make that leap and go for the gold, tearing down the rocks and connecting it via creep. Is that if you're the guy on the receiving end of that, like you don't have the gold base, do you freak out and say, I got to do a timing attack? Or how does the gold base factor in?
It's hard. It's hard to... I mean, they can do timing attacks, but at the same time, it's always going to be at a disadvantage concave.
Okay.
So we see a nice little deny there from Jaedong stopping his Link Scout. And Pig didn't get a good view there, so he doesn't know exactly what he's up against. Cancel some builds.
And it's a little bit even suspicious that he put that effort to hide that. Like, it's nice because the information is not there, but it also almost on a second level makes you go, okay, well, why? Why does he have 3 queens at the low ground and he's denying that information?
Yeah,
I mean, it's always good to do no matter what, but it kind of makes you think, right?
It absolutely. And it's actually going to really favor Jaedong because Jaedong did go for a reasonably early gas here. So he's going to have speedlings. It's a little bit later than Pig's. Pig's still making oh, actually, Pig canceled his Baneling Nest.
Yeah.
And Jaedong is making his. So Jaedong can go for a very, very quick timing and actually close this game out very early. It's going to be up to Pig, though. If he can actually get in here.
Gets in there.
Oh, he's going to see everything.
Sees the lack of lair, sees the Baneling Nest.
And that
he might see the Zerglings themselves pop, and yes, he does.
Yeah.
So a string of Zerglings come out. Immediately, his own Baneling Nest does go down. He is still with the lair. You don't cancel that, I don't think, because it's not such a big investment that you freak out about. And he's going to wall in here, too, so he should be fairly safe. Now, the question is, does Jaedong... Okay, so the follow-up for Jaedong, okay, 5 drones, and I think that's a very savvy choice, as well as the lair. So he says, okay, you scouted my aggression. I'm going to, you're going to have to respond. We can see the wall in, which is going to slow down Pig a little bit.
Yep.
And then instead of trying to, smash his head into a brick wall, he's just going to take that.
Yeah, he's going to force out a little links. He forces out all these buildings that didn't want to be made so early. He's forced out this this Baneling Nest that he didn't want to make. And this is giving Jaedong definitely the initiative. He can take a third base from this. He is going into that tier 2.
Yeah.
So he can go follow up from Mutas or go for Roaches. Judging by what we see, we're actually going to see Jaedong go for Mutas, which is actually a really big deal as well, because it's something we don't see very often in this matchup these days.
Muta versus Muta.
Muta versus Muta, that'd be amazing. But it is a lot harder these days because Roaches are so strong, because Spores are insane against Mutas these days.
Are there? So wait, you're saying you don't see Muta versus Muta, or Muta in general is what you're saying?
In ZVZ, it's a lot more rare these days. You never see it in Korea, especially. Like,
That's
never
so
happens.
weird. In a lot of the international tournaments that at least I've covered, you do see a lot of Muta, and you're certainly right. Spores are certainly very powerful against Mutas, but it's the map control and then that Roach timing to follow it up. I feel like that's such a strong strategy still.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. I mean, it's all about, at this stage of the game, with both players especially going Mutas, which it seems it is, it's all about cancelling that third base. So Jaedong already has his half done here. So if he can defend this, hold on to it, he's going to essentially win the Muta race.
Yeah.
He's going to win it. He's going to get way more Mutas way early. It's going to be entirely up to Pig to shut this down now, or he's in huge trouble.
Banelings are here first. Jaedong did have a couple of Banelings over at his natural. Oh, yeah, this, I don't know how you guys do this. They come so close, the Banelings to the Lings.
Yeah.
But it's like a danger zone game that they all play.
It's a game of chicken, essentially.
See, with Protoss, it's so much simpler for us. It's just a bunch of lasers, and generally everything dies, so I don't really freak out about things too much.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a lot more simpler than this volatile Ling Bane versus Ling Bane here.
You risky hooligans.
Yeah,
it looks like
crazy.
Jaedong does repel this. In fact, he's looking to get a big connection on the right side. He doesn't get it. And then meanwhile, he's going to go for the cancellation on the third at Pig, and Pig does not seem super prepared for this. Zergling's just now about to pop out. It should be... Actually, I don't know that it'll be in time to save this.
No, I actually think this is going to go down for sure, and this is giving Jaedong such a lead here. And from here, all he's got to do is hold on. All he's got to do is make Mutalisks and camp his third base, essentially, until he gets that bigger Muta count. He can move over the map again, cancel his third again. I mean, Jaedong's just still pushing it. He can, because he's won the Ling War so well.
He's got almost a 20 supply advantage. He doesn't have Banelings over here just yet, so it looks like he's not going to be able to super take the initiative. Oh, and then this third's getting canceled as well. That's kind of unfortunate for Pig.
No,
this lane battle, as you said, has done so much.
Yeah, it actually does insane work. Jaedong just defended everything flawlessly, didn't give away too many Bane hits or anything like that. And Pig gonna go for a 2-for-3 trade, but doesn't get it.
All right, his Mutalisks are going to defensively be out here first. That means the Banelings are going to try to waddle away, otherwise they're going to lose on a little bit of L. Not the biggest of deals. The biggest of deal here, of course, is the fact that not only is Jaedong mining off the gas at the third, he actually just has 33% more production as long as he's up with his intakes, or his injects, excuse me.
Yep, I mean, production for sure. He's going to have a lot more Lings on the map. He's going to have a lot more Mutas. He's going to have way more Mutas even from now. And Pig's third is only just started again, so he's in a horrible position here. This is like the problem with Muta versus Muta. Like, when it gets to this stage and someone's behind already, there's almost no way to come back.
That's kind of the quandary with mirror matchups. You both have access to the same tools, but to your point, when you're using the exact same tools, we both have Mutalisks, you're not like, well, if I can sneak these 10 Roaches into his 2 bases and really cut into the drones, if you're not able to say stuff like that, then you're just in a lot of trouble. And as you can see here, Pig is trying to even get Overlords, which consequently is not the biggest of deals. He says, I've had enough. Yeah. There's too much bad going on here.
It's only going to get worse from there. Yeah. Like, Pig had to make something happen when those beaters came out. He had to try and at least do damage to that economy, slow it down while his third finally got up. But he just couldn't make it happen. And from there, it's a guaranteed loss, essentially.
And it's interesting. It is just best of threes. It is just group stage 2. So I don't fault either of these players for saying in this first game, you know what? Let's open up, as you said, 15 pool, 15 hatch, very vanilla openings. But I would like to see, and I want to get your opinion on this, of course, going into game number 2. If I'm Pig, I go, I had the better opening, albeit slightly. Jaedong mechanically just kind of drowned me. It didn't look very good. Does he go into his bag of tricks for game number 2? Does he freak out, or does he just keep going vanilla?
I think it's hard to say. It's going to be King Sejong Station, so this map is it's a lot easier to defend on this map. It's a much bigger map. The rush instance is a lot further.
Yeah.
So I feel like Pig should still just play a straight up game, play a very solid ZVZ, just a Roach vs. Roach. I'd like to see Roach vs. Roach, especially on this.
You like to see Roach vs. Roach?
I love Roach vs. Roach because.
All right.
I'll make it interesting for you. Don't worry. I'll explain a little bit more about it.
I have faith. I've been listening to your Team Salmon stuff. That's great over there. But okay, so on the flip side, Jaedong, known to take risks in ZVZ, is up 1-0. It is just a best of 3, and as you said, Pig is very good in this matchup. But Jaedong, not knowing much about Pig, I'm just going to make that assumption. Does he look at this last game and say, all right, this is just another Western jobber that I've never heard of. Do I just 10 pool him and win that game too, or does he just do the same thing?
He did win that pretty convincingly, I'll give you that. He could be thinking that way, and he could go for that 9 pool and that 10 pool, maybe try and close it out early. We did see Pig go for the hatch first, so he would be very weak against that kind of opening if he does the same build again.
Well, you're a very accomplished Zerg professional player as well. I want to know in a ZVZ, just a best of 3.
Yeah.
Because it is. I feel like it either is 15 hatch, 15 pool, very generic vanilla Roach or Muta. It seems like it's very narrow. Or we've got crazy stuff like 10 pool Baneling. We've got Speedling all-ins. Where do you calculate your all-ins, or like how does it factor in your mindset?
It really depends on the player. Like if you know the player well, you know how greedy they like to play. The 10 pool Bane is always going to kill someone that goes hatch first. Almost every time there has to be a really critical mistake for a 10 pool Bane to fail.
Okay.
Big mistake. But it can happen on this map for sure. We have seen 10 pools work very well on this map. Pig might be inclined to go for that hatch first again. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be really up to Pig, though. Does he want to take that risk down a game, or does he want to play another straight-up game against a legend like Jaedong and try and take him out?
All right. Well, you're, let's say this. You are EG's new hired coach from Australia, beautiful sunny Australia. And you are Jaedong's life coach as well. Story to come later. But you're coaching up Jaedong. You know Pig very well. You guys combated each other in the same scene. What advice would you give him going into this? I
would tell Jaedong play exactly the same way. Because Pig can throw a lot of all-ins, not just temple banelings, but he can go for very... Well, should we do the introductions just quickly?
I'm going to throw you off 1 second long, and I'm training. We're training for Nathaniel, so you got to do this when you cast them too. Don't let him do the introduction. You just throw him off. Okay. He's not even listening to this because he's probably playing Hearthstone back there. All passion lost. Oh my God, you're under the desk. What are you doing? You can't sleep. Anyways, that was off camera. You guys didn't see that. Now, switching roles, okay? You are now Exile 5 Pig's life coach. You guys rode in on the same kangaroo. You guys share a pet dingby. What are they called? Not dingby.
Kangaroo? What?
No, what's the other Australian little... Wallaby.
Wallaby. Those are the smaller kangaroos.
Okay, listen, you guys share a pet wallaby. You got it together. It's great. It's really friendly. His name is Walter, actually.
Sure.
What advice do you give him against Jaedong now going into this?
I would say don't go for the Ling Muter. I would say play up a straight-up game and go for Roach Wars and try and play for the later game because I know Pig can play that a lot better. And I think, of all things, Ling Muter Bane would be Jaedong's kind of cup of tea.
Yes.
He would definitely excel in that because he comes from a Brew War background where that thing was every single game.
Oh my God, yeah.
Every single game.
Even against Protoss, they open up that way and
went
to the Mass Hydra. Okay, so now let's introduce the players.
All right, let's introduce the players. In the bottom right, playing for EG, up 1 game, it is Jaedong.
Crowd goes wild. And in the top left-hand corner, how do I do this? I'm going to try to do an Australian accent. I shouldn't have. In his natural habitat, making a gas hit after the hatchery. No, see, it got British. It's so stupid.
It's so hard.
Exile 5 Pig, I don't care. Yes.
It's so hard. And
I used to be good at impressions, though. There was a time.
Hey, I remember your Aussie accent before, and yeah, it takes a lot of practice. I can't even do an Aussie accent. I don't sound Australian.
You say, okay, listen, I heard you say that at Moscow. You were like,
I don't think
you said
do.
Aussies say you don't have an accent because it's like mixed with European or something. No, you sound adorably Australian.
Oh, thank you so much. Because
if you ever make the way to America, you will find your wife within a month. Okay, or at least a lot of suitors.
All right. Well, I'll see if that happens. But we did see Pig open up the exact same way, going for that hatch first into gas. So you know what? A temple baneling would have been the right choice this game.
I know.
It's a shame Jaedong didn't boot, but you know, Pig playing a very straight up game, going for that economic risk once again, and it's paying for it. We'll have to wait and see if we can capitalize on it a little bit better than last game, though.
Yeah. To give us like an arbitrary, I don't know, mindset advantage, I do like that it played out this way. If you're a Jaedong fan, I feel like that last game was a bit of a manhandling. Of course, it's just one game, and if everyone, you know, hopefully you guys do know enough about StarCraft to know that you don't necessarily do that math where it's like, well, I beat you really hard game 1, so that means if we play normal game 2, I'll beat you hard there too. Well, it doesn't mean that.
Like, the thing you got to look at for that last game, it was more of an information victory. Like, he simply denied enough information, Jaedong that is, from Pig to go into that speedling, make Pig panic in such a way that he had to throw down such a big SimCity, put him behind. From that, Jaedong takes the third base, goes for the meter at the same time. And so Pig really got thrown off. So you can just look at that and be like, okay, I took a silly loss there simply because I didn't get scouts in, and Jaedong went for a kind of a bit of an aggressive build that really caught me off guard.
Absolutely. So guys at home, just keep in mind a lot on the line. The big storylines you're going to be hearing here at DreamHack Stockholm is that these guys are combating for spots at BlizzCon, the biggest tournament of the year. It's coming up here in November. And Jaedong is on the chopping block. He's at the number 15 spot, and he is mortal there. People can surpass him and get up there. Innovation at GSL is making it super interesting. If he goes on to win the GSL, he's gonna leap up there. Jaedong, however, if he makes it to the round of 8, it becomes something like 97% that he'll be at BlizzCon. Wow. So a lot of these guys, they know what they have to do, and they're gonna work their darndest.
Yeah, I mean, they also want to go for that DreamHack Winter, right? They want to qualify for that, get that top 4 spot.
Jaedong already slotted for that, so
very nicely done. So Pig on the other hand still needs to get that. And we do see some aggression coming up from Pig this time. Has enough Zerglings kind of to a threat, but there are already banelings out from Jaedong. So kind of a very similar game than last time, and Pig with a bit of a weird place to be morphing
very
banelings.
Weird. Super weird, because these banelings that are morphing, like normally that's scary if you have your own banelings or Zerglings to protect them, but the banelings of Jaedong were right there, so it looks like actually a little bit of a micro battle. One queen does go down, not bad for Pig, but that baneling last there just cleans up a good 5 or 6 of the Zerglings. And as you can see, supply-wise, it's just a 5 or 6 supply advantage for Jaedong. And that'll leapfrog back and forth, but that slight advantage does let you read into this and say, well, I think Jaedong came a little bit ahead there.
Yeah, those last 2 baneling hits kind of wiped out everything for Pig. He kind of, I think he like went back to macro or something. He just wasn't paying attention to them. Took huge hits there, and that gave Jaedong such a lead to the point where he's counter-attacking here, which is also a huge deal. It's going to force out more Zerglings. And while this is happening, Jaedong going to drone up, going to tech up from here. So he's getting more and more ahead, just reacting to this aggression.
Yeah, his lair was able to start up during that aggression, as you pointed out. And normally that in and of itself is not a big deal, but because of this counter push, his lair is now approaching 50%. Then, I don't know, if Pig continues to overreact, it could, I mean, he's making 18 more Zerglings, then it becomes 75, then 100%. We can see +1 range attack starting for Jaedong, so it will be Roaches this game, so you've at least so far got half your wish. And of course, with how late this lair is, I can't see him going anywhere else, but probably Roach from here, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pig, it's going to be interesting to see where Pig's going to go from. He's going to have to go for Roach, and it looks like he's going to have to do damage with this because he made so many Zerglings. It kind of feel like he might have even just misread the situation and thought Jaedong was going to go simply for an all-in. So he made another swell of Zerglings, completely halted his economy progression, his tech, his third base he's finally getting now, which is, granted, ahead of Jaedong's. But, I mean, Jaedong going straight into Roaches.
Yeah.
From here, he can defend very, very easily and go into that solid third base.
There's just no game plan from Pig so far.
No.
Moonglade, I got to be honest with you, no lair,
I'm actually
no Roach Warren.
Yeah.
He's just going to do, like, lean Baneling forever and then, like, probably double Evo or something like that. But these +1 Roaches are going to be so staunch against just laying Baneling. Pig will have to counterattack, but Jaedong already has the SimCity kind of narrowed down at the natural, so he could be in a position to attack with an invincible force of Roaches and then defend at home, and that's lights out for Pig.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Third base has to come up pretty soon for Jaedong. Jaedong being very, very defensive, granted, because there were so many Zerglings on the mat. But yeah, he's in still a very advantageous position here. Still ahead in drones.
So there is that late lair. There is just a single Evo in the Roach Warren, but he's also making 2 Spine Crawlers, and I want to be more of a big fan of this move, but he also has 0 creep spread, which is not the biggest of deals in ZVZ specifically, but if he wants to hold on to this third, he needs to find some kind of junction between the bases to go back to and have like a base of 4 or 5 spine crawlers. He's not going to have that available to him here.
Yeah, and I mean, just with that swell of roaches we saw from Jaedong, kind of move out just a little bit, just to show Pig that they're on the map, forces out those spine crawls, which is something Pig would never want to make, especially if he's going roaches himself.
Yeah.
So like Jaedong is kind of just manipulating him in such a way. He's doing such great work here.
Okay, here's the beginning of a good move. Oh, just a single baneling there, but he is whittling it down. It's getting to fairly low health.
Yeah.
But it was able to be defended by the queens here, and it looks like Pig lost a little bit of control. So baneling still intact means that the Zergling counterattack not going to do anything. Meanwhile, the roaches do move over there, and some roaches have come out for Pig, but they're not +1. And they don't have speed, so they're extremely disadvantaged. He can't fight here. He's just outnumbered. He needs to back away and say, okay, you've got my third. I think even moving out there was really expensive for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He could not be taking that sort of damage. I mean, losing this third here is detrimental. There's something... You can't lose your third at this point.
Pig, it's dead. You can't fight for it, bro. He's going to go for it anyways. He goes low ground, and the queen's going to die here as well.
The thing is, like, if he can't defend this, it's game over. Like, I think we're actually going to see GG any second here.
Well, we have to.
He is completely shut out. He made the wrong decisions in the early game. He went for too much aggression, too much Zerglings, into too many spine crawlers, into a very, very late Roach Warren, a very, very late tech, and Jaedong just completely played him like a fiddle.
But he's not even going to try for the natural.
Don't even need to. He's already got his
own
his
third.
His third is already droned up almost completely. So all he has to do is go 200, 200 Roach and then A move, and that's it.
You're exactly right. So right now, I hate to be this fatalistic, guys, but this is being realistic. Right now, Pig should be saying, okay, I expected to lose to Jaedong. This is me getting my butterflies out. Mana, I'm coming for you. Because I'll tell you what, I wanted to say this in the analysis going into this group, but Mana to me is the linchpin member of this group. Like either Mana or Pig could realistically be that #2 player. Jaedong, it would be very disappointing, I feel, if he did not make it out #1.
Yeah.
But Mana and Pig, these are really good players. Mana, a former DreamHack champion. Of course, Pig has been living in Europe for a while now, has been taking pro gaming kind of very serious for his own life. So we need to see something out of one of those two guys, and it's going to be between those two, I think.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree with you there. Bit underwhelming play from Pig, unfortunately. I was really hoping for a little bit more of a solid ZVZ, but I mean, it is Jaedong, and it is, I dare say, Jaedong's best matchup. Yes. And Pig going for one last fight here, and the concave is not in his favor. Upgrades are not in his favor, and from here, I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's just math. I mean, look at the supply. There's 70 more of Jaedong, and Jaedong can do wondrous things with less things. When you give him more, it's just not good if you're on the receiving end of that. So he's going to keep saying, okay, you're not going to get a third until you leave this game. Pig's going to hold on to it because, of course, he's got nowhere else to go. Down 0-1 here. And it looks like Jaedong will take that decisive 2-0 victory. What this means for Jaedong fans, by the way, as well, is it looks like, I mean, it's just one series, but he's playing pretty good. So hopefully he did bring in that good form to make a run here.
Very, very well. I'm actually very, very impressed the way Jaedong's playing. It's looking very promising for the rest of his group and for this tournament. So another fight going down. Pig with a +1 attack versus the +2 of Jaedong. That +2 attack makes all the difference in Roach Crawlers. It actually completely changes it. As you can see, he's even fighting against Spine Crawlers, and it's not making a single bit of difference.
Not
here, it's
so much.
Pig to pretty much say GG.
Yes, Pig's even pulling the drones here. Just wants his little moment in the sun. Jaedong does take it 2-0 to start off our show, but also to start off his DreamHack Stockholm Open campaign. And he's looking pretty damn good. And I don't just mean on camera here, because we all know he's a sexy son of a bee, but I do mean in-game. He was looking sultry and sphinxy there as well.
Absolutely. I was very impressed. You know, he played such a solid game.
What do I do now? Oh, sorry. I was just narrating his thoughts. The camera was right on his face.
Yeah, he was looking good. Looking in form, too. Yeah, hopefully he makes it far and he does do well for himself. But, yeah, early stages still. It's group stage 2. Game 1.
Group stage 2. We're early into this thing. I mean, there's only going to be 16 guys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But when you think of how many Koreans are here, to think of it just getting whittled down to 16, it's absolutely sick.
Yeah.
Cannot wait for that. But as I understand it, do we not have a winner's interview? I think we're just going... Oh, it is ready. Never mind. We are going to hear words from Jaedong. Sorry, guys. We're still getting our own little opening day production butterflies out of the way. But we do get to hear from our victor, Evil Genius's Jaedong.
Thank you very much, In Control. I am here with the winner of our first match here on the main stream at DreamHack Open Stockholm. Jaedong, congratulations on your 2-0 win over Pig. It must feel really great to start off the day with such a convincing victory. My first question for you is, ZVZ, historically, it is your best matchup. In fact, people have gone so far as to name it JVZ because you were always so dominant in ZVZ. But recently, in your last 30 matches or so, your ZVZ has lowered to a 55% win rate, which is still not bad, but it's just not the dominating ZVZ that we're used to from seeing from you. So do you still feel the same way about that matchup? Has your opinion kind of changed on it confidence-wise? 질문 이해했나요? 마지막 질문은요. 이제 엄청 잘하는 저그 대 전을 잘하는데 이제 최근에 그 승률이 그 55%예요. 그래서 약간 저그전에 자신감이나 떨어졌는지 어떻게 생각하는지.
뭐 계속 잘할 수는 없는 거기 때문에 이제 다시 2015년부터는 다시 GVG를 JVG라고 부를 수 있도록 바꿀 수 있도록 그렇게 하려고 일단 생각을 하고 있는데 지금은 일단 상태가 좋은 것 같아요. 저그전이. 그래서 이번 대회에선 좋은 모습 보여드릴 수 있을 것 같아요.
So Jaedong says, I don't think it's always possible to play well, but in terms of 2015, I definitely plan on bringing my results back up so that my ZVZ can be called JVZ again. And actually, currently, I'm actually feeling pretty good about my ZVZ, so I think I'll be able to show better performances at this tournament. Now, speaking of just your, I guess, recent performance of this year, 2013 Jaedong was absolutely dominant. It was a common occurrence to see you at the finals of many different tournaments. 2014 Jaedong hasn't quite been the same. Recently, you did drop out of WCS round of 16, but afterward, you still tweeted very, very confidently. Your exact words were, "Don't worry, guys, I'll be back soon. I'm the best, and you guys know I'm the best." So, does that mean, is that an accurate reflection of your confidence right now? Despite this year, are you still feeling really good about yourself? 질문이 해서. 네.
일단 뭐 제가 WCS에서 좋은 모습, 안 좋은 모습 보여주긴 했지만. 개인적으로는 블리즈컨을 굉장히 기대하고 있는데 많은 운이 따라줘서 꼭 제가 블리즈컨에 가게 된다면 지금까지 WCS에서 보여줬던 모습과는 다른 정말 JD의 모습을 블리즈컨에서 보여줄 수 있도록 그런 자신감을 표출해보고 싶었어요.
So he says, it is unfortunate that I wasn't able to do so well in WCS, but I'm personally most looking forward to BlizzCon. And if I'm fortunate enough to make it there, I'm going to make sure that I can show you guys just the real Jaedong that I know that all of you guys know and are familiar with. I'm going to make sure to show that kind of confidence in Jaedong that all of you guys know so well. So I'm just really looking forward to BlizzCon. And speaking of BlizzCon, obviously at this tournament, every game matters so much to you to get to the, on the road to BlizzCon. If you make it to the top 8, it's pretty much secure that you'll be making it. So does that add pressure to you as you're playing each match, or are you just trying not to think about it and focus one game at a time? 이제 그 블리즈콘 때문에 약간 이제 경기 하나씩 너무 중요하잖아요. 그래서 그런 것 때문에 약간 부담감이 훨씬 더 나세요? 아니면 그냥 그런 거 생각 안 하려고 노력하고 있어요?
그런 건 전혀 생각 안 하고 있고요. 블리즈컨 같은 경우는 사실 뭐 제가 어떻게 하느냐에 따라서 결과가 달라지는 거기 때문에 블리즈컨을 특별히 지금 신경을 많이 쓰고 있진 않아요.
I'm honestly not focusing on that aspect too much because I know that my position on BlizzCon is guaranteed based on just my performance here. I'm not focusing so much on the BlizzCon aspect so much as how I'm going to do here. Thank you very much, Jaedong. Best of luck in your next match in your group. Guys, we're going to cut to a quick break, but we'll be back with more action here at DreamHack Open Stockholm.